Okay, welcome back. This is a continuation of 2.2 definitions of limits. I want to do number 12. This is a calculator question, so get your calculator out. I want you to go ahead and put this function into y sub 1. I've gone ahead and already done that here, so if you go to y sub 1, go ahead and type in x to the third minus 1 over x minus 1. I'd pause the video now to go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm going to continue to move on. And what it's asking me to do, it wants us to fill out the table, okay? And it wants us to plug these values in for x and to see what y values we get as a result, and then make a conjecture about the limit of this function. Because the problem is, let's go ahead and take a look at our calculator, and I want to do, I want to hit the second button and then window to get our table set. And I'm just going to look at the table, okay? We start at -2. Let's just do second table to look at the table. And here's what we see, is that we get these y values if we plug them into the function, but look at what happens at 1. Okay, we get an error symbol, okay, which means that the function is not defined at 1. And the reason why that is because if I were to plug in 1 into my function, I'd get 1 minus 1 in my denominator, which means that we'd get 0 in our denominator, and it wouldn't work. Okay, so again, if I were just to say, okay, well, what's f of 1? Then I get 1 cubed minus 1 over 1 minus 1, and we end up getting 0 divided by 0, which is undefined. Okay, that's why the calculator put an error at 1. Okay, but let's go ahead and let's take a look at the calculator and let's fill those values in. Let's do this. Let's do hit second table set. And I'm going to just go down to my independent variable and switch this over to ask instead of auto. Okay, and I'm going to go to second graph, and I'm going to go to my table. Okay, and what you'll notice is that the table is blank. Okay, and I'm just going to put in, like, say, 0.9 into my function and see what y value we get. Okay, it says I'm going to get 2.71. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to write 2.71. All right. I'm going to plug in 0.99 now. Okay, so if I do 0.99, hit enter, I get 2.9701. So I'm going to just do 2.9701. Okay, so I'm getting, I'm getting closer. All these x values are getting closer and closer to 1, and I'm trying to see what's going on with my y values. So now let's do that. Let's do 0.999, see what we get there. It's going to give me 2.997. All right, so I'm going to type that in, 2.997. That's getting pretty close to 3. All right, so now let's go back to our calculator. Let's do 0.9999, hit enter. And that's 2.997, even closer to 3. Okay, so this is 2.9997. Okay, getting really close to 3. All right. Now let's do the other ones. Let's do the ones where we're getting closer and closer to 1, okay? Start at 1.1, so let's plug that in. Okay, so let me do 1, oops. There we go. 1 plus 1, now for God's sakes. 1.1, plug that in. Okay, we get 3.31. Oh, come on. We get 3.31, okay? Let me go back to my calculator. Let's plug in 1.01, sorry. And let's hit enter on that. And we get 3.0301. So we get 3.0301, all right? So let's plug in 1.001, okay? And so we get 1.001 and hit enter. And we get 3.003. All right, so 3.003. All right, let's plug in 1.0001, so what we get. So I get 1.0001. And we should, wow, look at that. Okay, so we get 3.0003. So let's take a look here, 3.0003. Okay, so as we get closer to 1 from the left side, we get closer and closer to 3. As we get closer to 1 on the right side, we also get closer and closer to 3. So make a conjecture about the value of the limit as x approaches 1 of this function. Well, by our table, we can say that our limit value is equal to 3. Okay? And if you take a look at your graph, all right, let's just take a look at the graph here real quick. All right, as I approach 1, all right, I'm going to use my thing there. Look at that. What are we approaching? What y value are we approaching? Looks like 1, 2, 3. Okay, that graph, it's undefined there. Okay, but if we were to, actually, if there was a point there, it'd be 3, but there's not. Okay, so we can look at this using technology and try and figure that out by plugging in values that are really, really close to 1, just to see what's happening for my y values. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to go ahead and make a different one. We're going to have 4 videos for this section.